Mr. Halley, I was wondering about any other stories about your younger years. Maybe one of your warrior stories.
Well, one of the things that happened to me that I'm not particularly proud of, but it really happened and it stays in my mind. And what it was is I was in the Army at Fort Rucker, Alabama, not far away from where Barnum and Bailey Circus was. And here comes a little tiny circus into town. They come into town, and the town is small. It's called Enterprise, and it's real small. So I'm walking through the town on a Friday night, and really and truly, I'm just by myself. So I get up there, and here's a cage, the kind that the lions are in, and they're walking back and forth, and they got the four wheels on, and it's about up to your chest when you get next to the cage. So the lion is up here, and it's big. Well, anyway, so they have a sign there. Who wants to fight this? It was a chimpanzee. I wasn't the lion. It was a chimpanzee that I was going to climb in the cage and hope that he doesn't make a monkey out of me, But he was an 85 pounds of romping, stomping, swinging meat, and I tell you, it was unforgettable. So what happens is he comes into the cage. He was in sort of like a dog house at the front of the cage, and there's parallel bars that run on the ceiling, one here, one there, and they're about this far from the ceiling. So he goes with his hands on one, and he goes from left to right, and he down to the floor. But initially, when I first walked, when the man who operated the thing was a guy from Eastern Europe. He spoke like he was Polish or something like that, and he had the accent. And so he opens the door, and he lets the chimpanzee out. The chimpanzee was 85 pounds, and I'm telling you, he had fast forward. There's slow pokey chimpanzee. This one wasn't slow. He was going boom, 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 boom. I said, what in the world? So what happens, he had his hand, this is where he hammers you. He's got this thick callus right there, and there was bars like jail bars, like you see a cell and with the jail and the gate opens and closes like that. And he goes bang, I mean really hard. And the blood came out, and I looked at the crack and I said, man, I said, this guy can really hit. Chimpanzees don't punch you, they hammer you. Boom, 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 boom. So I saw this and I said, gee whiz, I can't go that fast. I'm on his turf. And so I'm trying to keep it interesting. And so I do have on a football helmet a little plastic thing that really it's minimal. It's when helmets first came out after the leatherhead helmet. Then they came out with these little cheap looking plastic things. It was one of those. They gave it to me. I only had my short sleeve shirt. It was warm, and so the chimpanzee is really impressing me with how quick he was. I said, gee whiz, if it was a VCR, he is on fast forward, And I said, good grief, what have I done, And so he comes down on the floor, because most of the time he's up on the bars going back and forth. He comes down on the floor, and I headbutt him, and he rolls back, and then he jumps up into the corner. Now, he's got four grips. He's got his arms, his hands, and he's got his feet, and then they grip you. I mean, he has four grips. And so I see that he's swinging from one side of the cage to the other, and I said, that's when I can grab him, when he's hanging by one arm. And so when he's making that move, because he was going back and forth, and I checked him out. He was a male. I wasn't fighting a female monkey, okay? I want to get that straight. Anyway, so I grabbed him around the waist like this, and now I said, I got you. Well, anyway, he gets his leg and pulls it out and goes, boom, pile driver, knocks me down onto the floor, and then he jumps on me. But he jumps on me with he's got his feet that got a hold of me, and I says, gee whiz, he's on there. And then he's pounding me. He's hammering the living daylights out of me. And so finally, the owner, the manager of the thing, he's got a little pistol on his side, and he gets him off me. But I'll tell you, it was a little bit of it was hectic, you know. Then when he did come down, he ripped my shirt off. You know, I have a shirt and that came off. My helmet came off. So I was sort of impressed. I underestimated. He was only 85 pounds, and I was like a buck 40, 47, I think it was. So I thought I was able to handle this thing, but I was wrong. I was dead wrong. So this is probably one of the most embarrassing encounters that I ever had, because I did go into the boxing ring when I was in the Marine Corps, and they did tag me with the name of Canvasback, you know, and so I was Kid Canvasback, and here I am fighting a chimpanzee.
Did you go get a hams after the beatdown?
Well, I'm telling you, it was so embarrassing that I was defeated to the degree that I was, that I don't like to talk about it. And I truly don't think Hams wants me to sponsor that little message that I just gave you. They want winners. You know, I wasn't a winner in this situation. I was just humiliated. And but afterwards, when I realized what happened, I did go to my headquarters, which is my non-commissioned officers club, and I did sedate myself and reward myself with the hams for coming out of it. But I was beaten for really and truly. When you get bruises like bone bruises, it takes maybe 2 weeks before you stop aching, because he hammered me to that degree. Now, I was not allowed to punch him. I was not allowed to kick him. And one of the things that I didn't mention, he had a muzzle on. He had a muzzle on, so he couldn't bite me.
17-year-old country
because don't do that, Ann.